Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Welcome to the channel, and joining me tonight to review the Cowboys Warriors game from last Saturday and go through the other NRL games from the week is Rue and Hammer. They are massive Warriors supporters. They do Warriors content as well. So welcome to the channel tonight for the very first time, actually. So it's great to have you guys on. Hammer, how are you doing? And Rue, how's it going?
Mate, I've been good. Thanks for having us on. It's been a long time coming. We're keen to get in and talk some footy with you. You too, Rob, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, thanks, Phoebes, for having us on. It's great to be on the show, and always great to be talking footy, especially after a performance like that one on the weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no worries. It's great to have you guys on. And Rue and Hammer, why don't you guys tell everyone who you guys are and what you guys do for like Warriors content, because there's a lot of great Warriors content creators out there, but you guys do things very differently. You guys do a show as well, but you guys also have some guests on there as well, like former Warriors players as well, past and present as well. So yeah, what do you guys tell everyone what you guys do, and how long you guys have been doing it for?
Mate, we've been doing it we started during COVID back in 2020. Yep. The interesting thing probably that a lot of people don't know about Rob and I is Rob lives in Queensland, I live in New South Wales. We actually did the Rue and Hammer first 10 months of Rue and Hammer without actually meeting each other face to face. It was all an online friendship, I guess we could call it. Mate, the first year we started doing it, we were very fortunate. The Warriors women were based here in Sydney for that 2020 NRLW season, the last one that the Warriors had a team, and we reached out and got some of the girls on for a bit of a chat, and from there it grew. I had ties to Ruben Wiki, Rob had ties to Mark Tukey, and we got those two guys on, and from there it's become its own beast. And we do a live show every week talking about the Warriors, but probably the key thing that sets us apart from everybody else is the relationship we have with the Warriors club and the past and present players, and getting guys like that on for some live chats. And they're always live chats, they're never pre-recorded. We've only ever done one pre-recorded one, and that was with Stacey Jones over in New Zealand because of a bit of technical difficulties. 99% of the time it's always live interviews, and we've had some great guests on, haven't we, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. We're both Day One Warriors fans, and in particular, we're very passionate about the history of the club and remembering all those guys that pull on the jersey, even if it's just once, twice, 301 times. So, yeah, it's been an absolute blast and truly an honour and a privilege to get to chat to so many past and present legends of the club. And I know for myself, that's been something I'd always wanted to do, and it's basically been a dream come true to be able to chat and then rub shoulders with these guys and become mates with these awesome blokes. It's been an absolute fantastic ride.
Yeah, has been.
Yeah, that's great that you guys have been doing this for a while now, and I've been always enjoying and keeping up with your shows live or pre-recorded, and I highly recommend everyone go and check out Rue and Hammer as well. Go and check out their contents now. Morely focused on YouTube these days because they used to do a lot of things on Facebook, but their live shows are probably on YouTube now. But why don't we get into the footy chat about all the games from the week, and we'll then go in a bit of more in depth for the Warriors Cowboys review as well.
Yep.
All good. So we'll start off with the first game now. So I'll just bring up the banner here. I've got the banner here. Manly Seagulls versus the Parramatta Eels. So what was your thoughts on this game, Hammer? What was your thoughts on this game overall?
Mate, it was a weird game. Rob and I we chat about every game, but one of the things that we took away from this game is if you could score 30 points in a game of footy, you shouldn't really lose that game of footy. And conversely, if you have 30 points put on you, you shouldn't really be winning. A lot of points in this game. It reminded me of the old under-20s competition where there was not much focus on defence and everything was on attack. Great to see Tommy Turbo back to his best though. had 191 run meters, 9 tackle breaks, a line break assist, 2 tries and a try assist. So he was back to his rock star best. But yeah, weird game of footy, and it's interesting now that the grand finalists from last year, the Parramatta Eels, are still winless after 3 rounds, heading into round 4, and they've got another hard clash this weekend against Penrith. So they could be 0-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roo, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, much like Hammer said, I mean, it was a try fest. It was a little bit weird. It looked like Manly had it sewed up with about 10 to go, and yeah, it got back close again. And I always struggle to think how you can score 30 points and lose. But maybe it's a bit of an influence from, as Hammer said, from the under-20s days. But I guess it's good for the average fan to turn up and see a lot of tries. But I wouldn't want to be watching that with my team involved in a game like that.
No, me neither.
No. Yeah, and look, I think the Seals, they started really strongly, and then Parramatta were really struggling in this one. The likes of Tommy Turbo was outstanding, and DCE as well, Schuster especially, and Manly, towards the end, they did allow Parramatta to get back in it right near the end. But I think for me, Manly probably pretty much had this game set in stone, even though the scoreline didn't show it, 34-30. But anything more you'd like to add on to regards to this game? My man of the match probably goes to Tommy Turbo in this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely, had to be Tommy Turbo.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, all right. So we'll move on to the next game now. So the second game was the Newcastle Knights taking on the Dolphins. The Knights taking on the Dolphins there. The Newcastle Knights at home had some injuries. They had a few players out, but I thought they started all right. But the Dolphins, they had a few areas where in the game they were like, they were still in it. They were resilient. They were really resilient because the first 2 games showed that, even with backs to the wall, they showed they can compete and stay in the game. But Roo, what was your thoughts in regards to this one? Another high-scoring game as well. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed watching this one. I thought it was a real test for the Dolphins. It's their first away game, and the Knights are always much harder to beat at home. And I think it shows that, to me, when the game was on the line, the Dolphins came up with a big play to stay in that game. It shows that they're a very well-drilled, well-coached side, as we know, because we've got the great Wayne Bennett looking after them. And I think there wasn't much in it. I thought the Knights might have run away with it when it got to 18-16. They looked like they'd sort of started to get the ascendancy, but to their credit, the Dolphins stayed with them, and they looked sharp in attack, and they finished with a flurry to make the scoreboard look a bit worse than what it actually was. It was a tight contest.
Yeah. What about you, Hammer? What were your thoughts on the game?
Mate, the hype is real. The Dolphins are legit. I said at the beginning of the year, I struggled to see where their first win would come. I thought they had a really, starting with the Roosters, I thought they had a really hard draw to start the season. Here they are, 3-0. They're on the brink of joining Melbourne as the only new franchise to win their first 4 games in coming into a comp. Wayne Bennett's done a tremendous job to bring this squad together, and I'm really impressed with the 2 halves that they got. Sean O'Sullivan, he's reveling in the fact that he's the number 1 man for that 7 jersey. He's played second fiddle, at a number of clubs, at the Roosters, at the Warriors, at the Broncos, and at the Panthers. But he's the man. They signed him as their number 1 halfback, and the fact you've got young Isaiah Katoa, who's taking the bull by both horns. He's repaid the trust that Wayne Bennett has shown in him by picking him ahead of the more fancied Anthony Milford, and he's playing with maturity and above his years and experience. And those 2 for me are the 2 guys that have been really, really good the first 3 weeks of the comp for the Dolphins. Yeah,
and Felice Kafusi as well. First 2 games very strong, but in this one he had a bit of a moment where he took out Jackson Hastings, got sin bin for it as well, and you think how the Dolphins going to manage to hang on here, but they to their credit, actually, very resilient. They even outscored them in the end. So, yeah, that's a credit to them. And they've had I'm actually surprised with the start they've had so far. I think in the 2 games, I thought they would struggle, and they've had 2 very strong wins. And that game against the Broncos is going to be massive this week.
Yeah, huge
game at Suncorp.
Biggest games, probably one of the biggest club games at Suncorp.
Yeah.
It's already sold out, so it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere there. It's great living in this part of the world, having all the hype and the buzz and the fizz.
Yeah.
So, So, no, I'm absolutely looking forward to that one next week. I cannot wait. And don't forget, it is actually the 3rd Battle of Brisbane. Don't forget the South Queensland Crushers were around for a couple of years.
We can't forget the Crushers, mate.
Anyway, so I'll move on to this one here. The 2 arch rivals, the Sydney Roosters taking on South Sydney Rabbitohs at the Arlott Stadium in Sydney. 2 big rivals, massive history in the game of rugby league. And Roo, over to you. What were your thoughts regards to this game? Because the Rabbitohs were favourites, according to a lot of people. A lot of people were tipping the Rabbitohs. I, including myself, tipped them, even though the Roosters were at home. But, what were your thoughts regards to this game?
Well, it lived up to the hype. The NRL and Channel 9 would have been pumped about that. Another page open in the book of feuds between these 2 foundation clubs. Personally, I don't care at all about either club, but enjoy watching these contests. The fast start from the Rabbitohs. I honestly thought they would run away with it, but credit to the Roosters. They stuck with them, and the match kind of turned after the 10-0 lead turned when Brandon Smith got that try on the board, and then from then on it was all Roosters. A sort of a late flurry from the Rabbitohs after a few spiteful incidents, but it was a great game to watch, very enjoyable. As I said, spiteful encounter that never fails to disappoint.
What about you, Hammer? What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, as Rob said, another episode in the Book of Feuds has been written. It never disappoints these Roosters Rabbits games. For me, same. I thought the Rabbits were well in control, but once Brandon Smith and the alpha dog Jared Waerea-Hargreaves came onto the field in that 25th minute, all the momentum really changed for the Roosters. Great to see a young kid like Jackson Paulo, who was discarded by the Rabbits at the end of last year and picked up by the Roosters, come back and haunt his former club with a double. And again, as Rob said, always a little bit of spite in this one. We had Cheekam and Joey Manu sent to the sin bin at the end of the game. Joey Manu is going to have a bit of a stint on the sideline for his hit on Isaiah Tass. Mate, didn't disappoint. I tipped the Rabbits, but again, I'm not upset that the Roosters. Not upset that the Roosters won. Good game of footy to watch.
Yeah, it was a game that lived up to the hype. Some of these games in the past, we've seen a few blowouts actually, which has been a bit of a shock and a surprise. I think the Bunnies too, especially, have put some 13+ scorelines on the Roosters in the past. But it was great to see a very good close contest. And even though the Rabbits got off to a very good start, they were leading 10-0. The Roosters managed to get back in it, try to Brandon Smith there, and I thought the second half, the Roosters, they did what they needed to do to get the result in the end. But just reading through the comment here, the Clove stuff. How's it going? The Clove stuff's join us. He's saying that Jared Waerea-Hargreaves made the world of difference in this game. So I definitely agree with that for sure. Yeah. But on to this next game now. So this game was a very high-scoring game actually. It was the Gold Coast Titans versus the Melbourne Storm up here on the Gold Coast. So, Hammer, what were your thoughts? Because this game, defence was really thrown out the window in this one. Especially, it was like for me, a touch football sort of game where a lot of tries were scored. But what were your thoughts?
Very hot conditions there on the Gold Coast on Saturday. Very, very hot conditions. I can't remember the last time the Storm scored 34 points in a game of footy and lost. I think that's unheard of in Storm history. And Melbourne jumped out to a lead. They were leading 24-12. Jonah Pezzett, the son of former did he play for the Crushers? Troy Pezzett?
Crushers, yeah, Troy Pezzett,
Yeah.
Crushers and Parramatta halfback,
Yeah, so Jonah Pezzett, he's the son of ex-NRL player Troy Pezzett. He scored his first NRL try on debut in the 14th minute. And like I said, Melbourne out to a 24-12 lead. You really thought the Melbourne of old would have gone on and won that game. The Titans came back, put some points on. It was a ridiculous game of footy to watch. And it just looks like Melbourne are just so disjointed and out of sync. There's so many unforced errors in their game, and it's got to be a concern for Craig Bellamy. And Rob and I had a chat earlier tonight. They're the dominant leaders that they had at that club in Kaufusi and the Bromwich brothers and Brandon Smith. They're no longer there anymore to keep these young players accountable. It's such a young side that they're throwing out on the field. A lot of new players like Eli Katoa and even Tarek Sims, who's not young, but they haven't come through that Melbourne culture and learnt that Melbourne DNA. And I think that's what's really missing from this Melbourne side at the moment is that they've got to rebuild that Storm culture and work ethic that they've been so known for the past 20-something years under Bellamy. Like I said, we said it earlier against Parramatta. You score 30 points in a game, you shouldn't lose that game of footy. Just really bizarre to see the Storm where they are on the table at the moment and the results that they've had the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Rob, do you agree with what Hammer said there? What are your thoughts? Because I was a bit surprised that the Titans got up in this game.
Yeah, Hammer mentioned Eli Katoa, a guy that we know very well. I think he would have felt the full force of the wrath of Bellamy after a few silly passes and Warriors-like errors in that game. And I think I was saying to Hammer and some of the other boys we're in a chat with, it's like he probably would have gotten away with that at the Warriors, but ain't no way he's getting away with that in Melbourne under Bellamy. And
no way.
Yeah. Geez, oh man. But you're right. Like they have lost so much personnel, and in the years gone past, they kind of adapted to it because they still had those senior leaders there. But this time, it's all the senior leaders. Well, not all of them, but the majority of the senior leaders that have gone.
Yeah.
And there you go. Like it's probably no surprise then that the top Dolphins are doing as well as they are. But I mean, Storm losing 2 games in a row, to be honest, is unheard of, and they looked very vulnerable. They're looking. You can see their mortality. You can see them bleeding, and. Yeah, like 38 points put on them. And a lot of those tries were gifts as well. A couple of intercepts, a couple of drop passes. Ex-Warrior Joe Vuna picking up a loose ball and scoring the easiest try he'll probably ever get in his career. So completely un-Melbourne-like. The Titans, I mean, they did well to score the points. And as I said, they were handed quite a few tries on a platter. But they did well to get the job done. And they're looking a much better, improved outfit this season. But the weather, geez, I was sitting at home watching it on the TV with the aircon on because I wouldn't go out in that heat, let alone play a game of footy. It was unreal. It was just so humid.
I like that comment on screen from the Clough stuff. He knows his stuff, the Clough stuff. On your Lee. And Lee's right. It's right. Nass is such a huge loss for them that they're struggling with their go forward at the moment. And he's out for another 6 or 7 weeks. So they've got to find it because Christian Welsh doesn't get the go forward that they need. Christian Welsh is more of a Tamo type player where he just plods up. Once he gets hands on him, he kind of succumbs into that tackle. He doesn't push through the line. He doesn't, break through the line and get big post contact meters. And that's what they're missing from Nelson Asafa-Solomona at the moment.
Yeah, and I do believe that they are missing Kaufusi and the Bromwich brothers as well. And Brandon Smith, I think they sort of missing a little bit in some areas. But I do believe that they're missing that experience. The likes of the Bromwich brothers and Felice Kaufusi as well. I think they're one of the mainstays in the 4-pack for the Storm over a few years now. So I'll just read through this comment here. So Jacko's just saying here, agreed close with Nelson. They look like a mid-table side, so that's a fair one. But anyways, on to the main reason now while we're going to be on here is to review this massive game, Cowboys versus the Warriors. the Warriors went over to Townsville to play in very hot weather conditions there in Townsville. Second away trip, sorry, because we did play against the Roosters in Sydney, but it was the second away trip. Hammer, what were your thoughts on going into this game, regards to how the Warriors would approach this one in terms of, the effort was there against the Roosters, but they were missing some players as well.
You could probably say it was their third away trip because their first home game was in Wellington anyway, so they had to travel. So, it's pretty much, as Andrew Webster said, they've had 3 rounds on the road, the last 2 in Australia. Last week in Sydney, I was at that game. That was scorching heat. They go up to the tropics of North Queensland, Queensland Country Bank Stadium, a venue where we haven't won at the new venue. We haven't won in North Queensland since 2018, and we haven't won in Australia for the last 13 games. The last time they won on Australian soil was in round 8 against the Raiders last year at KO Stadium or Redcliffe Stadium.
We've only had 3 wins in Townsville in like 20 years. That was like our 3rd win in 20 years. Yeah. Crazy.
I thought, going into this game, Webster will be looking at, obviously defence. He spoke when he came on and chatted with us. He spoke a lot about defence and defensive structures and what they've worked on during the pre-season and the off-season in making sure the defence is right. And we've seen that the past 2 weeks, and in this game as well. It was evident to see. I've made the comment to a few people that this resilient goal line defence that we're seeing from the Warriors is fast becoming a trademark of this side. It's something that's going to be, I think it's going to be expected now. I think they went into this game, Josh Curran being out, they brought in Jazz Tavanga. It's not really a like-for-like replacement, but Jazz brought so much intensity and effort off that bench. When him and Dylan Walker came on the field, the whole game changed for us. I just thought, it was a fantastic performance from our boys. One that Webby's obviously going to be happy about. There's a couple of things that came out of this game that I was really impressed with. Obviously, one was the defence, and 2 was at the beginning of in the first part of the game, we had a couple of sets on the Cowboys line, and we tried the traditional 1-out barge play, try and crash over the line type of stuff that never really worked for us in the past, and it doesn't work for us now. And we wasted 2 really good ball sets doing that. And then as the game went on, we found this short passing game, particularly between our forwards, that kind of worked the Cowboys forwards around. And in those hot conditions up there, we were the ones that were playing the smart footy. We were the ones that were, moving their forwards around. We were, sending the ball 2 and 3 passes wide one way and then bringing it back the other. And that allowed a guy like Sean Johnson to play one of the best games he's played in the Warriors jersey since he's come back to the club. He was outstanding on the weekend. He ran when the time was right. He passed when the time was right. His kicking game was on point. He really put pressure on the back 3 of the Cowboys and kept them contained inside their own 10-metre line with every kick that he put in. And Tamari Martin as well. He was great as well. He chose to run the ball a little bit. He was really good feeding his outside man. And defensively, those 2 guys, 19 tackles for Tamari, 21 tackles for Sean Johnson. Absolutely outstanding defensively as well. Great win for the boys. Really, really chuffed about that one.
Yeah, Roo, what are your thoughts purely on the game and how it all went about?
It was interesting. Before the game kicked off, Toddy Payton sort of made a comment when referring to the Warriors, saying he hasn't seen them playing with this kind of, I think the comment was like cohesion and unity in a long time. And, mate, he would know, because the last time we played like that was when he was our coach, when we had that wonderful back end of 2020 under his coaching. And, we've got a massive soft spot for Toddy Payton, always will, for what he did for the club. And we always wish him well, just not against us. But, it was. I thought that was an interesting comment for him to make, and we showed it on the field. Like Hammett said it. Like we played a smart. Apart from, I guess, maybe the first 20 minutes, we played a smart, patient, and and resilient type of game. Like our goal line defense has just improved out of sight. It's unbelievable. Towards the back end of that game, even when we had the game won at like 26-12, and they were attacking the line, and the guys could have been probably forgiven for dropping in intensity a little bit, they still defended their line as staunchly as they had if the game was on the line. And that was a very pleasing aspect. And Webby made mention of that in his post-match press conference. That's what you want to see. They're hungry, and they just have pride in their defence. And it's just something that we haven't had for a long time now. Yeah. It was so encouraging to see us play, like you guys said, the short passing game, playing smart in attack, taking smart options, not throwing long looping cutout passes for the sake of it. As we saw the last couple of years, but I just came away from that just feeling so proud of the effort and like just excited for what this team can do. Like we look like a completely new team under Andrew Webster and with some smart sort of calculated recruitment as well. Another thing, like you chuck a guy like Tane Tuapiki in there for his first grade debut, and he did not look out of place one bit. He had a very strong game, and it's becoming like a kind of Webby's finding himself with all these pleasant headaches. You got a guy like Ed Kosi, who just re-signed with the club today, essentially filling in for Dallin on one wing, and he has had a fantastic start to the year. Again, very strong on Saturday night, as were all the outside backs. That was another great feature of our game, was the meters and the yardage carries by our outside backs. Everyone got involved. I think all the back five were over 100 meters. And that was that's invaluable. I mean, we lost a bit of that over the last couple of years when Ken and Fuss departed the club. And I'll make special mention of Dylan Walker. I thought he had a fantastic game off the bench. He was involved in everything. He played, gave a good try assist to Jazz, played a bit of dummy half, constant great yardage carries in attack. He is going to be one of the buys of the season.
Yeah, the Ball brothers really combined well for that try. There was a point in the game too where it really could have got away from us because the Cowboys got out to a 12-6 lead.
Yes.
And then there was this point in the game where they nearly went back to back. Murray Tuolungi took off down that left wing, and he found Valentine Holmes in support. He finds Dearden in support, and Wade Egan had chased that play for 80 metres, and he brought Dearden down with a try saver. Now, if you watch that play again and again, you'll see that there's guys coming back in defence. I think Pompey might have been one of them. I know Tuapiki was one of them. And they it's like their communication was on point because they were actually nominated. They weren't all going for the one player. They were kind of nominating who they were going to take. And they could see Wade Egan was coming. And like any other year, that becomes a try against the Warriors. It's a long and at 18-6 down, it could have been anything. But the fact that we saved that try, it was, I just thought that was one of the key plays in the game. And special mention has to be given to Wade Egan and Mitch Barnett. I thought they were outstanding for us on the weekend, and we lost both of them. We lost Barnett in the 55th minute. We lost Wade Egan to a second HIA. He had one in the first half. He copped a second in the second half, which is now going to be an 11-day mandatory stand down for him. But I thought those two guys were absolutely outstanding, and losing two guys like that, Egan I think was our best defender with 42 tackles, and he didn't play the last 11 minutes of the game. Again, we overcame that. A guy like Bailey Sirenen came on the field and stepped up and just stepped into Egan's shoes and did what he needed to do for the team. Just everyone knows their assignment. No one looks out of place.
That's it.
It's just
everyone knows their role. Yep.
And it doesn't matter if someone's out, a new guy comes in, as you said. Chance is out. Tuapiki comes in. He doesn't miss a beat. He knows what his assignment is. He knows what his role is, and they just do it. And they've got each other's backs. They're playing confident footy, and I love watching it. It's really, really good to see.
Yeah. So just going through actually the comments here. So the clock stuff, some very good points here. He's saying the kicking game and kicking in the corners and locking the Cowboys in the corner 10 metres out was crucial.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely.
Clearly,
For
a
sure.
tactical decision there. I mean, even though they're finding the man on the fault, it's allowing the defence to set and catch them just short of their line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did you make of Adam Pompey's effort, his try assist, where he's got his jersey over his head and he's carrying 3 guys? Someone made the comment that Pompey was so good he should start playing every game with his jersey over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good try assist. That was a great try for Ed. And that was off the bat of some really good go forward from the Warriors too.
He just took on Holmes. He just ran straight at him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, good confidence.
Awesome.
Confidence booster for him.
Yep. So, the close staff here, just going through viewers' comments here. So, Egan's one of the former players in the first 3 weeks, he believes. So, he's a big Egan fan, Wade Egan fan. Pompey, look, almighty. So, he's just commenting on Pompey there. So, yeah, look, I thought, even though we started off slowly in this one and see the first try, I mean, Reece Robinson was looking very threatening early, actually, in this one, especially in that in the middle of the field there, in regards to punching some few holes in the defence. And Tommy Chester got the first try there on the board for the Cowboys, and the Warriors could have easily just fought. It was going to be a bit of a tough one, but they stayed in it resiliently, and we got a try there to Wade Egan, especially, who's been on a bit of a try-scoring form to start the season.
He has, yeah.
Yeah, so and then it was 6-all, and then the Cowboys got a try again, and they were back in front, and then the Warriors managed to score 2 tries back to back before half time as well. But Jazz Tavanga scoring a try as well, especially. So it was awesome to see Jazz Tavanga get on the try board in his first game back in Warriors colours, especially.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so just hello here to the Wobble and Jaw Sports channel. How's it going, the Wobble and Jaw Sports channel? So he's a massive Cowboys fan. So
sorry about that, mate.
Yeah.
Not sorry. Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
The tissues are in the mail, mate. We're sending them up to Queensland for you. Yeah. One other part of the game that really impressed me too was when Mitch Barnett went off, and the Warriors got a penalty for that, for the crusher tackle on him. And then they chose not to take the 2 points. And then they got another penalty not long after that. And again, chose not to take the 2 points. And it was 22-12 at that stage. And they're only up by 10. A penalty goal would have taken it out to the 2 converted tries. But they backed themselves. And it paid off because we did the left shift to the wing for Hectic Montoya to get his double. And go to a 26-12 lead. And that kind of showed the type of mood that the Warriors are in, the type of footy that they wanted to play, and that they were going to back their attack structures, which are starting to look really, really good. And Hectic Montoya, mate, what do you have? 246 run meters. He was absolutely outstanding in this game.
Massive. Huge energy. Oh, great game. Yeah, great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcelo Montoya, he's come on leaps and bounds since he's joined us, especially. I mean, a lot of people went high on the signing when he came to us, but since coming from the Bulldogs, he even had a good year last year, I believe personally. Marcelo Montoya, he's probably one of the most improved players out there, and he's a big body and always gets a bit of work in on the field, especially. So yeah, I mean Montoya's very underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
got me some good Super Coach points this week though.
Yeah, so the close stuff saying only real big improvement in his jacket. Always he's crafty as they get. So I think he's who's he talking about here?
Probably talking about SJ.
About Egan.
Egan, okay.
Egan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Egan. Yeah. Egan.
All right, so
I got to say, even though we got out to that 26-12 lead with 20 minutes to go, it was still a bloody nervous 20 minutes. Old habits die hard.
It was. I think I felt safe with about 4 to go. I thought surely they can't score. They can't score 3 times in 4 minutes.
When it becomes physically impossible, you're like, okay, I can relax. It's just constantly.
Absolutely.
Even at 22-12, you always feel nervous as Warriors.
10-point lead is the most untrustworthy lead in the game, mate. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why, even I was thinking when they opted not to take the 2 points twice, I'm thinking, oh, I hope this doesn't come back and bite you.
Yeah.
As it so often does in a lot of games. But, they got points with Montoya in the corner. So, yeah, it was a good way to – and then they held on, for 20-odd minutes to wrap that game up.
Psychological advantage, isn't it? So you go from 10 to 14 when they got to score 3 times. And I think that could have been the straw that broke the camel's back there, and I think we frustrated them with our defence. So
that's it. The last 20 minutes was the perfect blueprint for how to close out a game. We had strong carries of the ball from our back three. We had short passing to work the defence around in the middle of the park, and then Johnson just kept kicking into a corner, or Martin kept kicking into a corner.
That's it.
And that's all we needed to do to continue to have the Cowboys working out of their own corner, and defend as we had done for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, it's like it's not it's a very simple game to play rugby league when you break it down and you just do the little things right. And they did the little things right, and it's it's great to see that a club like ours who's been under so much pressure for the past 3 seasons, just playing with so much confidence and so much flair, and it's something we've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. It's just great to see the effort that we're putting on the field. There's something we've never seen for years. As Warriors fans, we just obviously it's great to get the results, but you want to see that effort week in, week out, which is the most important thing for me. How crucial it is to just put that effort in each week.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so just read through some of the comments here. So we've got Richie Morgan has joined us. How's it going, Richie Morgan? All the way there from
G'day, Captain Warrior.
Captain Warrior Nation.
The Warrior Nation.
How are you, Richie?
Yep, so I'll just go through another comment here. So the close stuff saying, I'm just glad that in that last 5 to 10 minutes, we could have let the Cowboys in, but refused to. That was the moment that showed that our attitude is changing. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I mean, in the past, we've been the team to leak the most points, just in those last couple of minutes, or let a team back in the game, but we didn't, which is the most important thing. And the Cowboys looked very frustrated too. They were trying their most hardest to break the Warriors down, but they weren't able to do it.
Yeah, put it this way: the last round of last season, we led 26 points to 12 with 6 minutes to go, and we lost. Yep. And I watched a bit of a replay of that again. I don't know, I must be a glutton for punishment, but for some reason it popped up on Facebook. I watched that replay of that game, and you can see when they were scoring those tries, like the guys were just standing around, just like looking at each other. It's like no one wanted to tackle, no one wanted to put the effort in, and it's just like it's chalk and cheese. 6 months later.
Yeah. So, in regards to, is there anything else that really stood out in the game before we get into like the stats?
No, I don't think so, mate. I think, as I said, I think it was just built on the back of some really great, resilient defence. A couple of try savers in that second half as well, on Shibasaki and then Tom Chester.
Johnson again with some big tackles.
Yeah. The Cowboys had the opportunity to score some points, and it was just the resilient defence of the Warriors that stopped them from doing it. And then, controlling the game at the back end would have been, it was a really, really good overall performance from the Warriors.
Yeah, in regards to the Cowboys, there's some people making some comments here in regards to Scott Drinkwater, which is obviously a massive out for the Cowboys going into this one. I think they. What are your thoughts, Ham, on that one? Did you think they missed Scott Drinkwater that much in this game? Because
mate, I thought Tom Chester was outstanding for him. I thought Tom Chester was one of the best Cowboys on the field. I think he filled in admirably. I'm not saying that Drinkwater's not a good player, but I think the replacement that came on did the job that they wanted. And I don't think you can base your whole their loss around one player. Drinkwater might have injected a little bit in there, but Tom Chester scored their first try. Would maybe Drinkwater wasn't in the position to score that try when that happened in the game. So who knows? It's hard to say It's really hard to say. You know what would have happened. Yeah, had Drinkwater played. So I mean he was a big out, but we had Chance Nickel Cookster out. So you know, I mean you can say
exactly.
you know. You can talk about who was out and who was in, but at the end of the day, the result's a result. And there were 17 guys out there that had the opportunity to win that game for the Cowboys, and they didn't come up with it, and the Warriors did.
Yeah, and the Warriors with this win actually broke a 13-game losing streak in Australia. So, which is good. You know, it's finally we've been able to get a win over in Australia, especially. But what is your thoughts on that stat? We finally broke that stat. Hammer and Ruin Hammer.
We were at the last game that they won in Australia. That was the that was the Raiders game at Redcliffe last year. Golden Point victory. Dejan Arzi's debut game for the Warriors. So we remember it quite fondly. We got to know Dejan and his family quite well. Yeah, lay down Lodge, got the penalty. That's correct. And that was the game when Shawnee kicked the field goal, and he had a wedding to go to in Fiji, and he had a flight booked, and the game went into Golden Point, and he was going to miss his flight, and he got the field goal and he legged it.
He literally sprinted off the field. He literally sprinted past us, and said, no, he's got to go. So, when you got to go, you got to go.
So, mate, getting those monkeys off your back is always good. You know, they've won that game in Australia now. Now we can go on a bit of a run. We can go for 13 straight wins in Australia now, and including the NRL Grand Final, and that'll be good.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So, who would you say is your man of the match in this game? So, I've gone with Marcelo Montoya. Actually, it was a tough one to choose because a lot of standouts, but I've gone with Marcelo Montoya. I thought he was very strong. But Hammer, who was your man of match for the Warriors in this one?
Yeah, there was a lot of deliberation over this one because I mean most weeks there's always like a standout player. Like the first two rounds, it's been like Tohu Harris. He's been just a standout for us, and Wade Egan. Those two guys, you know. But this week it was really, really hard. Like we had Adam Fanua-Blake running for 144 metres, Tohu Harris 142 metres, Mitch Barnett 145 minutes, Jazz Tavunga 140, Dylan Walker 157, and then you add to that, you know, the guys that played in the backs, Vallejo 147 metres, Pompey 145, as you said, Montoya 246. There was a lot of really good performances in this game. I gave my 3 points to Adam Fanua-Blake. I just thought his work in the middle, he had 58 post-contact metres, he had 3 tackle breaks, an offload, a try assist, and 23 tackles. I just thought his work in the middle was really, really good, considering, you know, they shifted Barnett to an edge and what have you, and he lost his front row partner. And Bunty only played 17 minutes. Didn't get a lot of game time. I thought Fanua-Blake was outstanding for us. So I gave him my 3 with Jazz closely behind. A fantastic performance for a guy that only played 30 minutes in reserve grade last week and came out in his first appearance in first grade after having 3 surgeries in the off-season. I thought he was just absolutely outstanding for us. So, Fanua-Blake 3, closely followed by Jazzy.
Yeah, what about you, Roo?
Yeah, I agree with you, blokes. Like I had AFB up there, just led from the front in a dominant pack. Montoya, obviously, the meters, his aggression, the tries, everything. I'm going to chuck Tohu Harris in there as well. Like he made over 100 meters once again and 41 tackles, and that's a massive effort in the heat up there. And we did a lot of defence, and that's a superb third straight captain's knock from the skipper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So just go through what everyone else is saying here. So Jacko is saying here, hard to pick anyone but Jazz, and walk off the bench was fantastic. Pompey took care of the dangerous Holmes as well. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, good point.
Yep. And the close staff is saying here, when most of your full pack and half your bench run for over 100 metres, you can't get much better or dominant. Yep, for sure. Our full pack was outstanding. It was a bit of a question mark whether our full pack can take it to the Cowboys pack, and they did it. And our outside backs were very good as well. It was solid. And shout out to Tane Tuapiki as well, making his debut for the club. Big raps on the guy coming from the Burleigh Bears in the Q Cup, which I watched pretty closely as well. And Tohu Harris played his 200th NRL game as well. So shout out to those two players especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so my 3 probably goes to Tohu Harris. 2 have gone Adam Fanua-Blake, and 1 have gone with Masala Montoya. So that's my 3-2-1 there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we'll look into the player stats now. Actually, I'll go through the player stats. So these are the players that stood out for me in the game, especially. So the first player I'm actually going to look at is Masala Montoya. So he ran for 246 meters, 39 kick return meters, and 40 post contact meters, and made 3 line breaks for 5 tackles made there. So, Hammer, what were your thoughts on Masala Montoya's performance?
Oh, absolutely outstanding. 6 tackle breaks in that game, 2 tries, as you said, 246 meters. Mate, there was a couple of really key plays in that game too. There was one where he took a carry off our line, Cowboys had their defense, their attack, and he got it rushed out of the defensive line and put a hit on, and I think it was Shibasaki, caused an error, stopped that Cowboys threat, and then he earned a penalty in the very next 2 plays later when coming off our own line, just carrying the ball hard through yardage sets, working really hard to try to get to his feet to play the ball. Outstanding. I'm really the problem that we have now is the amount of depth that we've got in our squad, and I'm hoping that when Dallin comes back from injury, Webster doesn't feel the need to move Montoya into the centres to accommodate Dallin on the wing. I think Montoya is a far better winger than he is a centre, and I really hope that Montoya stays on the wing and Dallin, has to work his way in because Cossie's done enough to hold on to the jersey as well.
Yeah, Roo, what are your thoughts on Masala Montoya's performance there?
Mate, you guys said it all. He was fantastic. As I've been saying this year, he's taking the aggression up a few notches this year. Hard man to tackle and damaging in defence. He's been fantastic. Yeah.
So just reading a comment here, Bobby's saying my biggest takeaway this year compared to any other year seems like everyone knows their jobs and all have a similar goal and wanted to be at the club. So excited for this year. So pretty much. The signs are there. The signs are definitely there, even though we're 3 rounds into the comp so far.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, the next part, I'll read out another stat here. So, Tane Tuapiki, NRL debut there. So, he had 17 all runs for 150 all running meters, kick return meters of 92 there, and post-contact meters, 23 meters, tackle breaks, 8, and tackles made 4, and he missed 2 tackles and kicks defused 5. So, Hammer, it was actually a very solid debut there for Tane Tuapiki. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely he was. He looked dangerous every time he had the ball. He's not to go back to last season, but he's kind of in the mould of a Reece Walsh, where he's not a hard run into the defensive line type of fullback that Roger and Chance are. He's kind of a little bit of a footwork at the line guy, trying to find a bit of space and a bit of room. Thought he played really, really well. He handled the high ball really well. If people were questioning whether he could handle the high ball, he did that very well. Positionally, he was good. Defensively, he was very good. And as you said, 150 run meters, mostly coming out of yardage. But really excited for this kid. He was one of my predictions in my 23 predictions for 2023 that he'd get his first grade start within the first 5 weeks, and that's come true. I've got massive raps on this kid, and I really hope that we see him in open field because his highlight reel from the Burleigh Bears over the past couple of seasons is absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, jump onto YouTube, look it up. This guy's a freak of a try scoring machine. Yeah.
What about you, Roo? Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fantastic debut. Didn't look out of place. Says a lot about the kid. He was signed on a kind of a train and trial deal, and after one trial match, he's upgraded to a top 30 contract, and he didn't let anyone down. He looked fantastic, and he's going to be a wonderful backup should Chance have any more injury problems.
Yep, absolutely.
For sure, yep. Jacko's saying here, watch two of Piggy's career highlights. The kid can be a weapon, yeah, that's for sure. And the next player is Edward Cozy, actually, another very strong performance by Edward there. So he had 1 try, he had 13 all runs, all running meters for 114 metres there, kick return meters 19, post contact meters 34, 1 line break, and 6 tackles made. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on the performance of Ed Cozy? Ed Cozy.
You go, Rob. Talk about
it's no secret. It's no secret. I'm a big fan of Ed. Yeah, he's such a lovely young man. We had the pleasure of getting to know him during the Redcliffe games, and such a lovely young bloke, great to chat to, and so humble. And it's just great to see him have such a strong start to the season. And he's a big kid, and he can, and you know, he's great at there's yardage carries. He's looking solid in defence. In the first couple of rounds, he made some great reads in defence, some big hits, particularly in that Knights game. And he's a proven try scorer. I think that was his 11th try in 18 games. So that is a fantastic strike rate in anyone's language. We all know he's had a couple of bad games in the past. That's no secret. But it's all about the way that you respond to those bad games. And mate, he's done it just like Manu did before him.
Absolutely,
and, mate, I'm so rapt for him. I'm so happy that you know, he's repaid the faith in the club, and then the club has then, you know, extended him today. He's looking really good, and he's made it very hard for Dallin to get back into this side.
Yep. Yeah, he has.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on that, do you think, regards to you know, Dallin, will Dallin be a certainty to get back in the side, or do you think he's going to have to, you know, work for it, because Ed so far has, you know, been very good, so it's going to be hard to drop him.
I think Webby's the kind of coach where Webby will make the hard decisions, and a lot of people may not realise this, but Josh Curran didn't play on the weekend due to injury. Josh Curran was dropped down to reserve grade. Josh Curran played for the Warriors reserve grade on Sunday, and Jazz got the promotion. So for whatever reason, Josh wasn't in the first grade lineup, whether it was an assignment he missed in the game during the last weekend, or he did come off injured. We did know that. Maybe it was a precaution from injury, or maybe it was something to do with something that happened during the week at training. We don't know, but I think Webby's not the kind of guy where he's just going to hand out jerseys to people for the sake of handing out jerseys. He's going to make sure that you earn them and you're doing the right thing for the team. And, you know, Cozzy on the weekend, he didn't get the opportunities that Montoya got, for sure. You know, Montoya, you know, doubled his run meters and that. Obviously, the ball wasn't going to Cozzy's side, but whenever the ball came to Ed, he did his job. You know, whenever players ran at Ed, he did his job. He tackled. He didn't drop a ball from a high ball that was kicked to him. Positionally, he was great. He's doing everything right. And as Rob said, you know, we've got to know him on a personal level. You couldn't wish it on a nicer bloke. He's very humble, very respectful, really quiet off the field type of guy.
Yes, very much so.
And just, you know, when we spoke to him privately over the off season and just asked him, you know, what are your goals for coming into 2023? And his exact response was, I'm just going to work hard in the off season and hope I get to play some first grade. And that's the kind of kid he is. And he's, you know, he'll take his opportunities when they come, and he'll you know, do his best, and he's doing that for the team.
Yeah, well said by both of you guys. But just the Clough Stuffs here's got a question for you guys. Actually, he's asking you, do you boys see any other extensions on contracts soon?
Well, Montoya will have to be re-signed.
Yeah, Montoya. I think Jazz will be re-signed. Jazz, I know he's extended his contract, I think, till the end of next year, but I'm pretty sure they'll look to lock up Jazz as well.
Tane, I mean, he's only signed on a 1-year contract.
A 1-year deal,
so
yeah.
How he plays, he should gets a few more games. He'll deserve an extension.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm not sure who's coming off contract and when. I haven't really looked that up recently. I know that we've got guys like Fanua Blake and Dylan Walker and Tohu Harris on long-term deals.
Long terms.
I think Egan's tied up for the next couple of seasons. He's one that if he's off contract at the end of next year or the year after, that he'll be one that they need to lock up as well, because you know Yeah, we've said in the past, he's been a slow burner for us, but he's the number 9 that we need in this side. He complements this team so well.
Yep. All right. So, the next player actually going to go through in terms of stats here. So, I got Adam Pompey here. So, all runs he had 15, all running meters 152 meters, and post contact meters 42, and line break assist 1, and a try assist as well. He's got a try assist in this one, but. There's a lot of comments around Adam Pompey in the fan world at the moment, but actually he's played pretty well, the first couple of games. So, Hammer, what are your thoughts on Adam Pompey's performance overall?
He's been good. We haven't been massive fans of Adams, and it's only because he's got a mistake in him. He's got this air about him where it's just like this nonchalant attitude. And I'm not saying this is how he is, but this is how he comes across when he's playing, where it's like he just doesn't care. And he as we said, he has had a mistake in him. He has had a brain explosion moment in him, but. He was picked in round 1 to do a job on Bradman Best defensively, and he did that. And then he backed that up last week in the game against the Roosters on Joseph Swa'ali'i. And this weekend, I'm thinking, he was up against Valentine Holmes. He did a great job on Valentine Holmes. He's been really good for us. He's a big-bodied centre. He had a lot of work to do to get the ball to Ed Cozzy to score that try. And we've always said he is that kind of centre where he does try to set up his outside man, and sometimes he does it way too often where he just throws a pass that's just not on. But this year he seems to have put that in his back pocket, and he's just working hard. And I thought he was great. I thought he was really, really good for us on the weekend, and especially coming out of yardage. He had some really good carries in our end of the field.
Yeah. What about you, Roo? What did you think of his performance?
A couple little moments in there. There's a couple of bad passes there, but look, overall he was excellent. Great yardage carries. As I said, he's a big man. Kept Valentine Holmes quiet. Kept Bradman Best quiet. He's done a job, and I can't really fault him other than that. So it's been a surprisingly good start to the year. Like Hammer said, that whole casual, lackadaisical kind of way that he would just kind of stroll up. It's like, I don't know if he knows that's what he looks like. Like he's just, it's kind of like that Krisnan Inu thing. Always used to say where it just looked like he's running at like half, occasionally 3/4 pace, but they're probably just like laid back dudes, and that's just the way that they approach their footy, the same way as they approach life.
Probably.
Great start to the year for Pompey, and pleasantly surprised.
So one more player I'd like to bring up in terms of the stats here is Tohu Harris, 200th NRL game, and he put on another very strong performance. So 15 all runs, 142 all running meters, 39 post-contact meters, and made 41 tackles as well. So a bit of a workhorse in regards to defence there. But, Roo, what's your thoughts there on Tohu Harris's performance?
Yeah, mate, as I said before, fantastic captain's knock in his 200th game, led from front, meters, 41 tackles in the heat. Fantastic performance. It's one guy you can always rely on.
Yep, Hammer, what are your thoughts?
Mate, he's the inspirational captain that this club needs. You kind of learnt a lot about Tohu Harris in the off-season when he knocked back the captaincy being given to him, and he said, I want to work for it. And he did that over the off-season, and, it was a unanimous decision by all the players. But the fact that he just didn't want it handed to him, he wanted to earn the respect of all the guys coming into the new guys, especially coming into the club. And then, he's not a big talker. He's not a Steve Price in the referee's face all the time kind of guy, but he leads from the front for our team. He paves the way. He shows them this is what it means to be a Warrior. This is Warriors footy. Outstanding performance by him 3 weeks in a row. The 142 run meters, but it's the work he's doing in defence that is just absolutely amazing. He's playing 80 minutes a game. last week he had 60 tackles. This week another 41. Round 1 he had 45. He's getting through a mountain of work for us. Absolutely sensational, and a great, awesome to see him bring up his 200th. It was his 83rd game for the Warriors. So later in the year we'll see him play 100 club games for the Warriors, which will be a great achievement as well.
Awesome, awesome achievement there. But so that's all the player stats for the players that stood out the most in this game. Ruben Hammer, do you have any stats you can bring up in terms of the game itself?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, just overall, so the full-time stats showed that the Warriors had 55% of the possession. We completed at 80%. The second half completion was really impressive, but we were completing at 90% at one stage, and that actually dropped to 94% for the second half. But great completion rate. We had 7 line breaks to 1, 33 tackle breaks to 32. The Cowboys had 3 set restarts to our 1. They had 7 penalties to our 4. The error count, we made 10 errors to 12 of the Cowboys. The run meter stats, we made 1,995 run meters compared to the Cowboys' 1,574. Of our run meters, 481 post contact, 332 tackles at 91% tackle efficiency. And then, as you said, Marcelo Montoya, 246 run meters, Wade Egan, 42 tackles. Tane Tuapiki, he had 8 tackle breaks. Marcelo Montoya, 3 line breaks. Tamari Martin, 3 line break assists, and Tamari Martin, 3 try assists, and they were the key performance stats for the game.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Yeah, so the Warriors, in terms of those stats, pretty much dominated the stats there. So it was great to see. But I've got some questions for you guys actually now in regards to this week's team selections. So so we've got a few players coming off injury concerns. We've got Mitchell Barnett as well. We've got, Wade Egan, obviously with the HIA. He's going to be missing this week's game because of the 11-day stand down there. But I want to get you guys' thoughts, actually. Who would you have this week in the team in regards to, would you bring some players through from the New South Wales Cup to bring in? The lots of Freddie Lussick come in to the hooker spot, or would you have Freddie Lussick off the bench, or start Dylan Walker at hooker? Well, what would you do, Hammer, on this one?
Yeah, it's a hard one, mate. Freddie Lussick's been 18th man for the past 2 weeks with the first grade squad, and Wade Egan will be out this week. There's no doubt about that. He'll have the 11-day stand down for HIA, so we will be looking for a hooker. Whether Webby's got a few things up his sleeve. He can bring in a Jazz Tavanga to start at hooker. He can bring Dylan Walker to start at hooker. They used Bailey Sirinen on the weekend in the hooker role when they had both Walker and Tavanga available. So I don't know, maybe that's a new role that they're looking for Bailey Sirinen to fill. I don't know. Personally, I think you have to have a specialist hooker to start the game. Especially when we're coming up against a team like the Bulldogs, who are going to have a very good specialist hooker in Reid Marnie starting the game. So personally, I would go with Freddie Lussick in this game, and you've got both Jazz and Dylan Walker to cover that position, and even Bailey Sirinen, if he keeps the bench the same this week, to cover that position if need be. If Mitch Barnett is ruled out, Mitch Barnett spent Saturday night in hospital in North Queensland having his neck looked at, so he may not be a selection this week either. If Jackson Ford's available, then he's just an easy slot straight back into that second row position. If not, then again, you've got Jazz, you've got Josh Curran, and a couple of other guys that would obviously be able to fill that spot. Personally, I'd just probably slot Jackson Ford straight back in there and try and make as little disruption, because I think one thing about the modern game of rugby league is it's a 17-man game, and teams are only as good as the 4 guys that they carry on the bench, and the 4 guys on the bench are the guys that continue or increase the energy and the intensity when they come on. And I think having guys like Jazz and Dylan Walker coming off the bench is really crucial to keeping the momentum of our game going once a guy like Adam Fanua-Blake goes off. So I would try and keep those 2 guys on the bench and look for other options in that back row position, whether it be Jackson Ford or Josh Curran coming onto that into that role. They're just my thoughts. My thoughts of a rambling old man.
So what about you, Roo? Do you echo the same thoughts, or?
Yeah, mate, I'd tend to agree with pretty much all of that. I guess I would be kind of tempted to have like Jazz and Dylan Walker. So maybe start with Jazz and have him and Walker sort of rotate, and it allows you to have an extra forward off the bench there. But Jazz is a very reluctant dummy half these days, and I think Webby will go with a specialist in Freddie Lussick, and like Jackson Ford if fit comes straight back in. He was outstanding in the first game, so that's what I think will happen, but who knows? It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think Jackson Ford will probably.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on that, Christian?
Yeah, I think Jackson Ford will come back in. I think he'll come back into the starting side somewhere. I'm not too sure what they're going to do if Mitchell Barnett's not playing. I don't know who's going to come in there for him. But, I think the likes of, CNK will definitely back at fullback, and, he'll be there. So, I'm not too sure regards to the other selections. But, it's going to be interesting to see how who's going to be named on Tuesday afternoon for Teamless.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll just read you a couple more comments here, and we'll get towards the end. So,
So you yelling at a cloud.
Yeah. Taylor Brooks. That's old man Elliot. That's old man Elliot.
That's our old coach with his PowerPoint presentation.
His cup of cocoa and his tartan slippers.
Anyway, so that's all regards to the Warriors game now. So there's just two more games just quickly. We'll recap those quickly, and then we'll end the show off there. So the other game here was the Bulldogs Tigers.
You forgot the Dragons, mate. Broncos after us.
Oh, Broncos Dragons first. Yeah, Broncos Dragons first. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Broncos Dragons was the other game there. So, look, this was actually a bit of a surprise how the Dragons started in this one. I thought they were very competitive early on. Hammer, what were your thoughts on regards to how the Dragons started this one? And
really impressed with how they started. I was actually I did catch this game, but I was actually out at dinner for my son's birthday, so I didn't have the volume up on the TV. Was just watching it. Was really surprised. It's one of those games though, like the score doesn't really give a true indication of how the game was played, because it was 18-all at the 71st minute. The Broncos scored 4 tries in the last 9 minutes of that game to blow that score out. And all of that was off the back of just big carries from Payne Haas, putting him in great position, and then a guy like Reece Walsh working off the back of that. I found it very interesting that both Walsh and Ezra Mam made a statement to the crowd with their post-match arm folding, "This is our house" type thing, considering that the Dolphins are taking their home game there next week against the Broncos. So very interesting. Look, Broncos looked really, really good in that back end of that game. Probably a little bit of a false sense of security, I'd say, because they did put on some tries in that last 9 minutes. But going to be an interesting clash against the Dolphins this week. That's for sure. Yeah.
What about you, Roo? What did you think of the game?
Oh, yeah, much the same. Dragons with a hot start, 16 points. They looked in control, but then they basically failed to come out in the field in that second half. And Broncos got the jump on them, and they just kept their foot in the throat, piled on the points in the last 10 minutes, and really blew that scoreline out. Reece Walsh came into his own, doing these big swan dives that are causing him no end of cramp.
Didn't like that. I hate that as much as I hate the guys that poke their tongue out when they score.
Yeah, I hate that.
Just fucking put the ball down. Stop being a lair.
Yeah. Oh, having said that, like I wish Reece Walsh all the best back at the Broncos, and we all know how that situation unfolded. And just as long as he doesn't play well against us, hope he kills it.
Yeah. So, Just on the next game, so we've got the Bulldogs Tigers. So this is the next one
Yep.
here. So Bulldogs Tigers. Tigers yet again. Very disappointing. As usual, the Tigers. Hammer, what are your thoughts on this one? Yeah, Bulldogs pretty dominant in this one. The first half, but the second half it looked like the Tigers were getting back in it, but really the Bulldogs they got this game.
The NRL need to give themselves an uppercut. How do they put the Tigers on Sunday footy 3 weeks in a row as the free-to-air main game here in Australia? It's absolute garbage. The Tigers, interesting that after 2 weeks of acclimatising, their big off-season signing in John Bateman, he finally made his club debut. And him dropping that ball, trying to pick it up when he's going over the line, sums up the Tigers' season to me. It's just they're a basket case. Third straight week, they've had a loss. I know they got back into that game. The Bulldogs were out to, I think it was 26-6 or something like that, and the Tigers came back to them. But, I don't think the Bulldogs were ever in any real danger of losing that game. But the nice thing about that is that they did leak some points in the back end of the game. So we got the Bulldogs this week at a sold-out Mount Smart Stadium. We beat them there last year. I think we'll beat them there again this year. Special mention to Paul Alamotti, who's just bought himself a treadmill, one of the Todd Byrne 122 TB 122 treadmills that we talk about so often on our show. If anyone isn't aware of why we call it the TB 122, well, Todd Byrne, ex-Rooster, famous for being run down by Scotty Sattler in the 2003 grand final. He came to the Warriors, and there's a story that Grant Ravelli tells about Toddy Byrne getting in the clear, and he was dead set on a treadmill, got run down within 5 meters or something.
He got run down by a prop or something like that. So classic yarn.
And in just to send away, in bringing up Scott Sattler's name, it's very sad to hear of the passing of Johnny Sattler today. Such a legend of the game. I was fortunate enough to surprisingly run into John Sattler back in 2011, it might have been, or 2012, when we used to take the footy team I coached on an end-of-season trip away up to Runaway Bay and play against the Runaway Bay Seagulls in an end-of-year game. And Johnny Sattler was actually working the bar at the Runaway Bay clubhouse the night that we were there. So, very sad to see a bit of our game go. Thoughts and prayers with his family.
Well said there. So, the last game now. So you got the last game of the round. Saw the Canberra Raiders take on the Cronulla Sharks in Canberra there. I actually tipped the Raiders to win this game. What were your thoughts in regards to, this game? Did you, a lot of people probably were tipping the Sharks, but, the Raiders were at home, and I actually gave them a real crack at this one in terms of winning this one.
Yeah, Raiders at home, mate. I picked the Sharks. Awful to see Danny Levi break his jaw in the opening minute of that game. Great to see Big Red, Corey Horsburgh. Everyone loves a big redhead dotting down for 2 tries.
Big ginge.
Great to see. We were talking tonight earlier about Corey Horsburgh. I don't know if anyone remembers back in 2020 when there was no crowds allowed at the games, and they had cardboard cutouts in the grandstand, and they used to play crowd noise over the intercom while the players were playing to make it feel like there was a crowd, and it would also mask out the swearing from the players on the field. And Corey Horsburgh got penalised, and at the same time he was getting replaced, and they were doing the crowd noise over the intercom, and he started sticking his fingers up at the cardboard cutouts in the crowd. Funniest thing I've ever seen for a long time.
Personality player, absolute personality player, or Big Red.
Yeah, but no, good win for the Raiders. The Sharks now have lost 2 games to start the season. Don't know, the only player they're really missing in that lineup is Nico Hines. I don't know if he's going to bring that much back to them. Interesting to see so many of last year's top 8 sides wallowing in the bottom 9 at the moment, which is, great for the game.
Leave a spot open for us, mate.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yep.
it does. But yeah,
Sure.
great win by the Raiders. Always good to see Ricky pacing the sideline.
Yeah. What about you, Roo? What are your thoughts on the Raiders?
Yeah, funny kind of game. It's
Yep.
sort of like one team would get the ascendancy, and then the other team would come surging back. And yeah, I think the Raiders always kind of had it. The Sharks had a bit of a scare at the end there. It's yeah, no, good. It was just funny with Corey Horsburgh on the sideline at the end with Ricky Stewart. Imagine having to sit next to him, sit next to bloody Sticky in a close game, him like come on whacking you all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that pretty much wraps up all the NRL games recap and the review of the Cowboys Warriors as well. And I'd like to thank Roo and Hammer for coming on tonight and giving up their time as well to go through the Warriors and chat about the thing that we love as well. So thanks to them for coming on.
Absolutely, mate. No dramas. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, mate. For those that are interested, we'll be doing our live wrap of the all things Warriors on Wednesday night as well, so you can look us up on YouTube.
Yep.
Yep. No worries. Yeah. So just go and check out their YouTube channel. I put a link in the description as well, and yeah, they're also on Instagram and Facebook as well. So go and follow them all on those platforms. But thanks to everyone.
You might be able to find us on OnlyFans without our clothes on, but you have to look for that.
No. Yep.
No, you won't. Don't go looking. Sorry, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Anyways,
it was fun. Loved being on here with you, mate. It was good. It's been a long time coming. We haven't done much stuff with you in the past, but this was really, really good, and we're keen to do some more stuff in the future.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sure we'll do some more shows in the future, live shows and chats as well. But yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for tuning in and watching. And yeah, make sure you like the stream as well, like the live stream, or watch it when you're watching it back. Make sure you click the thumbs up on the live stream and subscribe as well. Subscribe to the channel as well. And yeah, cheers everyone for watching. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow night on the channel for a Warriors Bulldogs preview with another special guest and all things Bulldogs. He's a massive Bulldogs fan, so he'll be joining me for that one. But cheers everyone, and I'll see you all tomorrow night. Thanks everyone.
Go the Wars.
Go the Wars.